Yeah. What we gon' do? What we gon' do? What we gon' yeah. What we gon' do? What we gon' do? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Another hit from Missy Timberland. Ooh, ooh. What you gon'
Okay. I know there's not that many people listening right now, but if you can, hold on, I'm gonna try to check if I can hear myself using my headphones. That'll be a second. Testing. All right, so I see a couple of people are here now. I've been having like some difficulties. Somehow my internet got disconnected for a few minutes. I wanted. I don't know if anyone else is going to. I don't know if anyone else is going to join. But, I got off to a little bit of a rocky start. But I think we're good now. So basically, what I wanted to do. Oh, excuse me. Basically, what I wanted to do was kind of make, I guess, radical text more accessible in a way, and also be able to basically talk to people about it. So the plan for today so the plan for today is to read the first chapter of Assata Shakur's autobiography. Excuse me. I put a link to the text in the description, and I also put a link to the text in the Tumblr post. Excuse me. I'm not really a public speaker, so this is kind of it's gonna be like, it might be a hot mess today. Okay. But if anyone is unfamiliar with, if anyone's unfamiliar with Assata Shakur, she's a member. She was a member of the Black Panther Party. She was accused of. She was accused and convicted of killing a New Jersey state trooper. And she escaped prison. And fled to Cuba. She's still on the FBI's most wanted list. Excuse me. But I previously read the first, what you call it, the first chapter of the book of her autobiography, and I thought that it was really relevant to what's going on in America today, like right now. Let's see. I'm gonna get to reading really soon. I also have to say, I don't live alone, so there'll be a lot of loud, unexpected sounds. Walls are thin. Also, this is a fight. I live near an airport, right under a flight path, so you might hear an airplane every now and again. I put it in the Tumblr post, but there are some content warnings of police violence, death, white supremacy. I'm sorry, I'm just pulling up the I'm pulling up the paper. I'm pulling up the book right now. Alright, so I'm about to start. Okay. This is Assata and Autobiography. What I'm reading right now is digitalized by Rev Socialist for Socialist Stories. Okay. There's this passage at the beginning of it that I haven't read yet, so I'll be reading it for the first time. So if it sounds weird, that's why. Because I've never read it. Okay. Okay, so this passage is called Affirmation. I believe in living. I believe in the spectrum of beta days and gamma people. I believe in sunshine, in windmills and waterfalls, tricycles and rocking chairs, and I believe that seed grows into sprouts and into trees. I believe in the magic of the hands and in the wisdom of the eyes. I believe in rain and tears and in the blood of infinity. I believe in life, and I've seen the death parade. And I've seen the death parade march through the torso of the earth, sculpting mud bodies in its path. I've seen the destruction of the daylight, and seen bloodthirsty maggots pray to and salute it. I've seen the kind become the blind, and the blind become the blind. In one easy lesson, I've walked on cut glass. I've eaten crow and blunder bread. And breathe the stench of indifference. I've been locked by the lawless, handcuffed by the haters, gagged by the greedy, and if I know anything at all, it is that a wall is just a wall and nothing more at all. It can be broken down. I believe in living. I believe in birth. I believe in the sweat of love and in the fire of truth. And I believe that a lost ship, steered by tired seasick sailors, can still be guided home to port. Okay. Chapter 1. Hold on a second. Oh, sorry. I don't know why chat's not updating. But yeah, I can increase the volume a little bit. Basamia Mitchell, can you hear me better now? Because my mic is at I have my volume turned up the highest it can go right now. I hope that helps. Sorry for all the background noise. I would cover it with a blanket, but it's too hot for that right now. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna start in a second. Okay. Chapter 1. There were lights and sirens. Zaid was dead. My mind knew that Zaid was dead. The air was like cold glass. Huge bubbles rose and burst. Each one felt like an explosion in my chest. My mouth tasted like blood and dirt. The car spun around me and then something like sleep overtook me. In the background I could hear what sounded like gunfire, but I was fading and dreaming. Suddenly the door flew open, and I felt myself being dragged into the pavement. Pushed and punched, a foot upside my head, a kick in the stomach. Police were everywhere. One had a gun to my head. "Which way did they go?" he was shouting. "Bitch, you better open your goddamn mouth or I'll blow your goddamn head off." I nodded my head across the highway. I was sure that nobody had gone that way. A few of the cops were off and running. One pig said, "We ought to finish her off." But the others were all busy around the car, searching it. They were pulling and prodding. "You find the gun?" They said. They kept asking each other. One of them asked another. "We should put her in the car." Nah, let her lay in the gutter, where she belongs. Just get her out of the way. I felt myself being dragged by the feet across the pavement. My chest was on fire. My blouse was purple with blood. I was convinced that my arm had been shot off and was hanging inside my shirt by a few strips of flesh. I could not feel it. Finally, the ambulance came and they moved me into it. Being moved was agony, but the blankets were worth it. I was so cold. The medics examined me. I tried to talk, but only bubbles came out. I was foaming at the mouth. "Where's she hit?" they asked each other as if I wasn't there. They concluded their examination. I was relieved. "Let's move it," one of them said. "Okay, but wait a minute," said the driver, and he got out. "Hit twice," I heard him say. "We gotta wait." The driver slammed the door. He said something else, but I didn't understand it. Time passed. I was floating off again. It felt so weird, like a dream, a nightmare. More time passed. It seemed like forever. I was in and out, in and out. A rough voice asked, "Is she dead yet?" I floated off again. I heard another voice. "Is she dead yet?" I wonder how long the ambulance had been sitting there. The attendants looked nervous. Bubbles in my chest felt like they were growing bigger. When they burst, my whole chest shattered. I faded again, and it was down south in the summertime. I thought about my grandmother. At last, the ambulance was moving. If I lived, I remember thinking, I'll only have one arm. The hospital is glaring white. Everybody I see is white. Everyone seems to be waiting. All at once, they're in motion. Blood pressure, pulse, needles, etc. 2 detectives come in. I know they're detectives because they look like detectives. One of them has a face like a bulldog, with jowls hanging down the sides. They supervise the nurse as she cuts off my clothes. After a while, one of them dabs my fingertips with what looks like Q-tips. Later I find that this is the neutron activation test to determine whether or not I've fired a weapon. Another one tries to fingerprint me, but he has trouble because my hand is dead. "Give me the dead man's kit." He puts my fingers onto spoon-looking things to use to fingerprint dead people. They begin to ask me questions, but a bunch of doctors come in. One of them, who appears to be the head doctor, examines me. He pokes and prods, throwing me around like a rag doll, like he's going to kill me. He jerks me around so that I'm on my stomach. The pain is like an electric shock. I moan. "Don't cry now, girlie," he says. "Why'd you shoot the trooper? Why'd you shoot the trooper?" I want to kick him in his face. I know you'd kill me if you had the chance. I can see the scalpel slipping. One of the other doctors says something about calling the operating room. Hell no, is all I can think of. Hell no. After a while, they all leave. Then a black nurse comes into the room. I'm glad as I could be to see her. She bends over me. "What is your name?" she asks. "What is your name?" I think about it and decide to say nothing. If I tell them my name, they will know who I am and they will kill me for sure. "What is your name?" she keeps asking. enunciating each syllable the way that people talk to someone who has trouble hearing or understanding. What is your name? What is your address? Where do you live? Her voice is getting louder. We need your signature, miss, she says, waving a piece of paper in front of me. We need your permission for treatment, in case we have to operate. She repeats the same thing over and over. Who should we contact in case of emergency? I think that's kind of funny. What is your name? Where do you live? I close my eyes, wishing she would go away. She keeps right on talking. I drift off, thinking about my arm. It is still there, nerve damage, paralyzed. I hear them say, it has never occurred to me. It has never occurred to me. It isn't that bad, I remember thinking. I could live with that if I have to. More voices, other voices grating my ears in my consciousness. She can talk, one is saying. The doctor says she can talk. Where are you going? What is your name? Where are you coming from? Who was in the car with you? How many of you were there? I know she can hear me. I keep my eyes closed. One of them leans down real close to me. I feel his breath on my cheek and smell it. I know you can hear me, and I know you can talk. If you don't hurry up and start talking, I'm gonna bash your face in for you. My eyes fly open My eyes fly open in spite of myself. Immediately, they are all in my face, throwing question after question after me. I say nothing. After a while, I close my eyes again. Oh, she doesn't feel so good, one of them says in a sweet, mocking voice. Where does it hurt? Here? 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 With each hair comes a crash. I look wildly, but no one is there. More thumps and punches, but none of them hurts as bad as my chest is hurting. I try to scream, but I know immediately that's a mistake. My chest erupts, and I think I'm going to die. They go on, and questions and bangs, and I think they'll never stop. Hold on a second, I'm going to get me something to drink. It'll be a second. Sorry if you can hear me drinking. Okay. A woman's voice. Telephone. Thank you, one of them guys said, giving me an ugly grin. They're gone. Another pig comes in, a black pig, in uniform. He comes closer and I can see that he's not a cop, but a hospital security guard. He stands not too far from where I'm lying, and I can see he's not at all hostile. His face breaks into a kind of reserved smile, and very discreetly, he clenches his fist and gives me the power sign. That man will never know how much better he made me feel at that moment. Detectives come back with a nurse. They begin to move on a stretcher. My mind races. Where are they taking me? The only place I can think of is the operating room. When we arrive at the x-ray room, I'm thankful because I have to move around. The x-rays are painful, but the technician is cool. X-rays are over, and all of a sudden, flashes of light. My eyes pop open. This time, they're taking my picture. The police photographer asks, "Why don't you want to give us a smile? Come on, give us a smile." My eyes close again. We're moving. The stretcher stops. One of the pigs tells the nurse he has a headache. She volunteers to get him something. The stretcher is moving again. Where the hell are they taking me? Again, the light is changing. Although my eyes are closed, I can feel the difference. It feels like I'm in the dark. I can't take it any longer, and I look. The room is dark, but there's some light. My eyes slowly adjust. There's something lying next to me. I can see an outline. Something in plastic. Something my mind slowly realizes it's a man in a plastic bag. That man is Zaid. My body stiffens. My mind spins. One of the troopers says, "That's what's going to happen to you before the night is over if you don't tell us what we want to know." I say nothing, but inside I'm raging. Dogs, swine, filthy pigs, dirty, slimy scum, bastards, sons of bitches. I rage on and on. I wouldn't tell you the right time of day, I remember thinking. I wouldn't tell you that shit stinks. The night crawls along. Nurses, doctors, and troopers. I'm still scared, but I'm just as angry and evil as I am scared. The detectives are in and out, and when nobody is there except them, they get in their digs and bangs. After a while, I don't think about them too much. I'm thinking about living, about surviving, thinking about what is going to happen next. They're going to do what they're going to do, and there isn't much I can do about it. Just have to be myself, stay as strong as I can, and do my best. That's all. There's nowhere to run, and I'm in no shape to try. I realize how isolated and vulnerable I am. What if I really do need an operation? I need help from the outside world. I have to try to get word out to someone. The black nurse has been back and forth asking me the same questions. Each time I've closed my eyes until she goes away. I decide to ask her to get in touch with my people the next time she comes by. Maybe she will be cool. She's my best shot. The guard is long gone. I doze off for a little while. When I wake up, a nurse and a priest are standing over me. The priest is mumbling and seems to be rubbing something on my forehead. At first I don't understand what he's doing. Then it dawns on me. Last rites. Last rites are for the dying. Go away, I say out loud. I don't have the strength to say anything else. But I know I don't want anybody's last rites. I'm not going to die. And even if I do die, I'm not going to die nobody's hypocrite. The black nurse comes back and starts her questions again. Before she can get started good, I beckon her to come closer. There's no one else around. I ask her to get in contact with my lawyer, who's also my aunt. I give her my name and ask her to make the call herself. She's a hard time understanding me and keeps asking me to repeat my name. I can barely talk. Each time she asks me to repeat myself, I feel like screaming. Then it occurs to me that Assata is foreign to her ears. She's probably never heard the name before, so I give her my slave name. Then I give her the number, and she's off and running. 2 minutes later, the detectives are on me like white on rice. They threaten and plead and reason and offer me the world. They hurl question after question at me, acting crazier than before. One plays the nice cop who's trying to save me from the bad cop. If only I'll cooperate. I'm tired, and their act is even tireder. I can see exhaustion in their faces. The whole night is coming down on me. The voices begin to sound far away. I can't take it anymore. They can go to hell, and I'm going to sleep. This time, I'm going out for real. I wake up and the stretcher is moving. When I wake up, the stretcher is moving. After a little while, we arrive at the intensive care part of the hospital. The place is packed with nurses. I'm elated. All I want to do is sleep. Soon I'm drifting off again. I wake up, and it's the next day. Doctors are making their rounds. One of them, an intern I think, is very kind to me. They examine me and spend the rest of the morning doing blood tests, x-rays, EKGs, etc. Soon I learn they're going to move me again. I also find out I'm in Middlesex County Hospital. I hear nurses talking. They're glad I'm being moved because the police are driving them crazy. I'm sorry, my voice needs a rest. This is like the most I've spoken in a long time. I was sick like towards the end of March. Through most of April and a lot of May. So I'm still kind of recovering from that. So I might need a minute. Can you guys hear me clearly? Understand me? I know earlier someone said that my volume was low, but now it's good. If I'm talking too fast, too slow, not enunciating, please let me know. Again, sorry for background noises. Can't help it. Don't live alone. I have a loud family. Okay. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna power through this. Okay. When they come to move me, it looks like a police parade. The rooms I'm moved to are called the Johnson Suite. I can't believe it. I've never imagined that hospitals have rooms like this. There's a sitting room, a huge hospital-equipped room where I'm kept, a den, a kitchen, a full bathroom, and another little room whose purpose I will never learn. They transfer me to the bed and handcuff one of my legs to the side rail. I keep looking around. It is elegant and clearly for rich people. I'm probably the first black person who's ever been in this room, and the only reason I'm here is for security. They have sealed off the doors and no one can enter except through the sitting room next door, where 3 state troopers are stationed. 2 regulars and 1 sergeant. The police radio in the room cackles all day long. A carload of suspicious-looking coloreds in a white Ford coupe. A suspicious-looking Negro walking near a hospital in a blue jacket and sneakers. No suspicious-looking white people are reported. From listening to the police talk next door and to the radio, I learned that the hospital is saturated with state troopers. They seem to be under the impression that somebody is going to try and break me out. I feel better. The Demerol has me flying a little and it makes it easier for me to lie in the contorted position I'm forced into because of the cuff on my leg. Oops, sorry. Later that afternoon, it begins again. Detectives and more detectives. Questions and more questions. This time, the questions are different. And now they want to know about the Black Liberation Army. How big is it? What cities is it in? Who is in it? Etc., etc. But the main focus of their question centers around the guy that got away. I'm delighted. I figured that Sundiata is somewhere safe by now, cooling out. There are more They're more careful where and how they hit me now. I guess they don't want to leave any marks. One sticks his finger in my eyes. I don't know what he has on his fingertips, but whatever it is, it burns like hell. And I think I'm going to be blind forever. He says he will keep doing it until I'm completely blind. I close my eyes and hold them as tight as I can. He strikes me a few more times. Some of the stuff gets into my eyes anyway. Burning tears pour down my face, and my whole head is throbbing. I think he's gonna keep on, but he begins to curse me, calling me all kinds of nigger bitches. Finally, he and the others leave. God, I hope you can't hear. Okay. On one of those first days, a white doctor comes to examine me. He acts very nice, sweet as pie. He examines me slowly, and the whole time making friendly conversation. I wonder what kind of specialist he is, since I haven't seen him before, and I know he isn't one of the regulars. He says he knows how terrible I must feel and makes a big deal of protesting that I am chained to the bed. He keeps on talking, and after a while, pulls the chair close to the bed. Then he starts to ask friendly little questions. The conversation goes something like this. Those guys on the turnpike are rough. They'll give you a ticket for anything. I take the turnpike every day. You live in Jersey? I live in Newark. Have you ever been? You must be really lonely up here. I'll bet you really need someone to talk to. I went to medical school in New York. You're from there, aren't you? I get suspicious and say nothing to him. I tell him I want to go to sleep and he leaves. I never saw him again, but to this day I'm convinced he was some kind of police or FBI agent. On the third or fourth day, most of my troubles came to an end. Well, not really, but the punch, bang, poke, and prod part of my troubles ended. A nurse with a German accent came to my aid. She was one of the morning nurses, very professional and exacting to the point that she could be a pain in the neck. But she was a lifesaver. It was she who had first protested the tightness of the handcuff on my leg. My leg had begun to swell, and she insisted they loosen it and that the cuff be covered with gauze. Of course, as soon as she was gone, they tightened it again, but the gauze helped somewhat. I could tell by the little things she said and did that she knew what was going on. One morning she came in as usual, and after she had finished her normal routine, she reached behind the bed and pulled at something and handed me an electric call button on a cord. Anytime you need me or anything from the nurses, just press this button, she said. Don't be afraid to use it, she added, giving me a knowing look. I could have kissed her. Later, when she returned to the room after the troopers realized I had the call button, one came in behind her. Is there any way to disconnect that thing, he asked. She might hurt someone with it, or herself. No, there's no way to remove it. If you pull it out, it'll just keep ringing the nurse's station. She is having difficulty breathing and needs it. Sorry. Okay. There's not a lot of contractions in this text. It kind of sounds not natural when I say it, but that's how it's written and that's how I'll say it. Alright. Right on, I thought. Okay, this is German. I'm gonna butcher it. Sorry. Das ist richtig. I guess that's German for right on. Okay, I'm focused. After that, whenever the police came within 2 feet of my bed, I would push the button. Finally, they gave the idea of beating on me and contented themselves with threats and other kinds of harassment. A favorite was to stand on the door and point their guns at me. Each day was my last day on earth. Each night was my last night. After a while, I became accustomed, immune. Sometimes they would cock a gun I didn't know was empty, give a long, impassioned speech, and pull the trigger. Other times, I was invited to a game of Russian roulette. They all expressed a bitter hatred for me. They were state troopers, and I was accused of killing one of them. Every day there were three shifts of police. When they changed shifts, the two troopers would salute the sergeant. Some saluted an army salute, but the others saluted like the Nazis did in Germany. They held their hands in front of them and clicked their heels. I couldn't believe it. One day, one of them came in and gave me a speech about how he fought in World War II on the wrong side. He went on, and there was no question that he believed everything he said. He talked about how messed up the world is, how decent people couldn't walk the streets. He said if Hitler had won, the world wouldn't be in the mess it is today. That niggers like me, no good niggers, wouldn't be walking around shooting New Jersey state troopers. He went on to say that the white race had invented everything because they were smart and worked hard, that other races wanted to riot and use terrorism to take everything the white race had worked so hard to get. I had a hard time keeping my mouth shut. He talked about empires, the Roman, the Greek, the Spanish, the British. He told me white people created empires because they were more civilized than the rest of the world. White people created ballet and opera and symphonies. Did you ever hear of a nigger writing a symphony? He asked. Every day he gave me a speech about Nazism. Sometimes other Nazis would join in. I asked him if there were a lot of Nazis in the state troopers, but he just laughed and kept on talking. When I was in the Black Panther Party, we used to call the police fascist pigs. But I had called them fascists not because I believed they were Nazis, but because of the way they acted in our communities. As many times as I referred to the police as fascists, these shocked me by the truth of my own rhetoric. I later learned that the state troopers in New Jersey was started by a German, that their uniforms were patterned after some type of German uniform. Very similar to the uniforms South African police wear, that they are notorious for stopping black, Hispanic, and long-haired people on the turnpike, beating and harassing and arresting them. The Nazis headed the harassment campaign against me. They spit in my food and turned down the thermostat in the room until it was freezing. For a while, their campaign centered on keeping me from sleeping. They stamped their feet on the floor, sang songs all night, played with their guns, shouted, etc. I told the nurses about it, but it was no use. I could deal with whatever they were putting out, but how long would this go on? I had heard nothing from the outside world. I didn't even know if anybody knew where I was, or whether I was dead or alive. My chest was feeling better, but I could still hardly breathe. I thought it was past the point of needing an operation, but I wasn't sure if it was because of the painkillers they had given me, or because I was really getting better. Every day I asked them to contact my lawyer, and every day they said they tried to, but there was no answer. I knew that was a lie because Evelyn had an answering service. Every day I asked them to contact my family. Their response to this was usually obscene. Oh, you got a family, do you? Is your mother a nigger whore like you? We don't allow no pickaninnies at this hospital. They went on and on about my family until they found something else to go on and on about. Whoever said that no news is good news had to be out of his mind. Well, there was news, but it wasn't good news. They told me they had arrested Sundiata. At first, I didn't believe them, but they were too glib and arrogant. I knew something had happened. We got your friend, they said, and he's singing like a bird. He's singing like a bird, and he's giving you all the weight. It's a good thing for you he didn't know what color undies you had on. Oh, he would have told us that. We know where you were coming from. We know where you were going. We know that you stopped at Howard Johnson. He even told us what you ordered, and that you just love potato chips. What? I thought, how did they know that? Then I remembered that we had bought potato chips at a Howard Johnson on the turnpike. Maybe someone had seen me and remembered. Yes, Clark Squire tells us that you took the trooper's gun and shot him in the head. Now, you wouldn't do a thing like that, would you? Well, Joanne, you're in a hell of a fix. If I were you, I wouldn't let him get away with it. It's a low-down thing to do, giving all the weight to a woman. I'll make a deal with you. You tell us everything that happened, and I promise we'll go light on you. I just don't like to see you get a bad break, that's all. You know you're facing a lot of time in prison. The way things stand, if he testifies against you, you could get life in prison, or even the chair. But all you have to do is tell us what happened, and we'll see to it that you do just a couple of years and go home. You're young. You don't want to rot your whole life away in prison, do you? Maybe you think you owe something to the cause. You think he's thinking about the cause now? No, he's singing his head off trying to give you all the weight. They're all the same. They all talk shit about black people, equal rights, civil rights. But when it comes down to the wire, all they care about is their hide. He's thinking about his hide, and you better think about yours. You think the cause gives a damn about you? Your own people don't give a damn about you. To them, you're just a common criminal. Now I'm giving you this. One chance to save yourself and come clean. If you don't take it, you're a fool. They really did think black people were stupid. Their line had to be the oldest in the book. He was sitting there like he just knew his corny little speech had done the trick. I said nothing. If you don't say anything to them, they have nothing to turn around and use against you. Divide and conquer has always been their motto. When they realized I wasn't going to talk, they began to leave. Then one came back. Oh, he said, I almost forgot to read you your rights. He pulled out this little card and read from it. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to, etc. I wouldn't want you to say we didn't read you your rights. Thursday afternoon, they're letting me make a phone call. I don't believe it. I call my aunt. She's not in. The answering service answers. I don't know who else to call. The only lawyers whose name I know worked on the Panther 21 trial. I call them at random. No one's in, but secretaries promised to give them messages. I'm disappointed, but I feel a lot better. Things are looking up. It's Friday. From the activity in the room next door, I can tell something is up. Voices and whispers, they are back and forth, in and out, and arranging this, moving that. The police radio is jumping. What is happening? Whatever it is, it can't be too bad, I think. They're leaving me alone. In a little while, a policewoman comes in. She's in a brown uniform, and her insignia says Sheriff's Department. She's black or Hispanic. I can't tell exactly, except that she isn't white. Then some more police come in. dressed in uniforms similar to hers. Then more police. They're state troopers. One of them moves to the door and stands at attention. Then some men in suits come in. Then a man comes in with a stenographic machine. The Honorable Joseph F. Bradshaw, State of New Jersey, County of Middlesex, all rise. Then this judge walks in with a black robe on. One of the men in a suit reads charges against me. This is a mouthful. Sorry. We are here today to serve complaints upon you for the matters arising out of the shooting of May 2nd, 1973. I will read you the complaints. Leave copies with you of the charges that will be pending against you. The judge will then advise you on the arraignment of such rights you may have. You are charged under complaint number 119977 by Detective Toronto, New Jersey State Police, who says on the 2nd of May 1973, within the confines of the township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, that you unlawfully and illegally resisted a lawful arrest being made by New Jersey State Trooper James Harper by discharging a dangerous pistol and wounding the said James Harper and fleeing the scene of the incident, all in violation of NJS 2A 85-1. You are also charged under complaint number S119979 by Detective Sergeant Toronto of the New Jersey State Police, who says on the 2nd of May 1973, within the township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, that you did commit an atrocious assault and battery upon New Jersey State Trooper James Harper by shooting, wounding, and maiming the said James Harper with a handgun, and they are discharged by the defendant, all in violation of NJS 2A 90-1. The second count you are charged by the said officer, who says that defendant Joanne Deborah Chesimard did on the aforementioned date and place unlawfully and illegally assault the said James Harper with intent to kill, murder, and slay him by use of a handgun, and they are held by the defendant in all violation of NJS 2A 90-2. It further charges in the third count that the aforementioned defendant did at the above-mentioned time and place commit an unlawful and illegal assault and battery on a law enforcement officer, to wit, one James Harper, a duly sworn trooper of the New Jersey State Police, by discharging a firearm and wounding the said James Harper, all in violation of NJS 2A 90-4. In S119980, you are charged with illegally and unlawfully committing the crime of murder by willfully and with malice aforethought shooting, killing, and slaying New Jersey State Trooper Werner Forrester, all in violation of NJS 2A 113-1 and NJS 2A 85-14. You are further being charged under S119981 with one account, wherein Detective Sergeant Toronto charges you on the 2nd day of May 1973 with the township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, that you did unlawfully, illegally, and with malice aforethought cause or effect the murder of James Costin, aka Zaid Shakur, while resisting or avoiding a lawful arrest, then and there being affected by New Jersey State Trooper James Harper, all in violation of NJS 2A 113-2. We're like halfway through this. You are charged with S119982 by Police Sergeant Louis Toronto, that on the 2nd day of May 1973 in the township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, you unlawfully and illegally possessed on your person, under your custody and control, an illegal weapon, to wit, one Browning 9mm automatic pistol, one Browning 380 caliber, one .38 caliber Lama automatic pistol, serial number 24831, all without having obtained any necessary permit for carrying of the same, in violation of NJS 2A 151-41A. Yeah. I'm almost through this, I promise. You are further charged in complaint S119983, wherein Detective Sergeant Toronto says on the 2nd of May, 1973, in the township of East Brunswick of County of Middlesex, that you did unlawfully, illegally, and forcibly take from the person of New Jersey State Trooper Werner Forster a .38 caliber revolver by violence, to wit, by shooting, slaying, and killing the same Werner Forster, all in violation of NJS 2A 141-1. The second count of that complaint charges you with committing an act while being armed in violation of NJS 2A 151-5. Wow. Damn. Whew. Okay. Okay, I have a feeling you don't want to hear me read all of the charges. I'll skip ahead. You're being charged. Hold on. Okay. I think you will never stop. Half the charges I don't even understand. I interrupt the proceedings. I don't have a lawyer here, I protest. Would you like to have a lawyer present? I would like to have a lawyer present. They ignore me and keep on reading. How do you plead? I would like to have a lawyer present. Don't I have a right to a lawyer? That will not be necessary, the judge says coldly. Enter a plea of not guilty for the defendant. And just as quickly as they enter, the procession departs. Later, the same policewoman comes back. She stands rigidly against the wall. Her face is a mask. Oh no, I think. Court again? What are they going to do? Railroad me here and now? I imagine myself being tried here in the bed with no lawyer. The door opens. It's Evelyn, my lawyer and aunt. She is the most beautiful sight in the world. She embraces me and sits down next to me. As usual, she is business first. I only have 5 minutes, she tells me. They told me I couldn't see you. I had to go to court and get a court order to see you. The judge would give us only 5 minutes peace. Your mother and sister are outside, so talk fast. We look up. The police are practically standing in our mouths. I would like to talk with my client in private. Would you please move back? This is an outrage. This is an attorney-client visit, and we have a constitutional right to privacy. The police move back 1 inch. I tell Evelyn about the kangaroo court in the morning. My mouth moves so fast that it's like one of those old-style movies, but a talkie. I can see from the expression on her face that I must look horrible. How are they treating you, she asks. I don't have time to tell her the whole story, but I have to let her know what's going on. I don't know what they'll do next. I have to try to get something to put pressure on them to stop. I tell her some of it, but I just can't tell her the worst things. Her face looks so pitiful, and And every time I tell her something else, her hands shake. What do you do? Try to do what you can, I say. Time's up. Time's up, miss. Evelyn makes her futile protest. I need to talk with my client. It's just not enough time. Sorry, miss, time's up. They move toward her like they're going to beat her up. Then she's gone. I brace myself for my mother and my sister. My mother comes in. She looks worried but strong. She kisses me. I'm so proud of you, she says. The words spin around me, weaving a warm blanket of love. I'm so happy I can hardly contain myself. My mother is proud of me. She loves me and is proud of me. Too soon the time with my mother is up. My sister comes in. She has her hair wrapped in a turban and she looks so pale. As soon as she sees me, she breaks out crying. Tears stream down her already puffy face. I can tell she's been crying a lot. I love you, she says simply. We don't do a lot of talking, but I feel so very close to her in those few minutes. Time's up, again, and then she's gone. I lie there full of emotion. All of this is so hard on my family. They look vulnerable and shaken. This is maybe harder on them than it is on me. I wish there was something I can do to make them happy. 2 black nurses were very kind to me. They were on duty. They would go out of their way to make sure I was all right. They made frequent trips to my room, for which I was especially grateful during those first days. If you need anything, just ring, they said knowingly. One of the night nurses came in and gave me 3 books. I hadn't even thought about reading. The books were a godsend. They had been carefully selected. One was a book of black poetry. One was a book called Black Women in White America. And the third was a novel, Siddhartha, by Herman Hesse. Whenever I tired of the verbal abuse of my captors, I would drown them out by reading the poetry out loud. Invictus and If We Must Die were the poems I usually read. I read them over and over until I was sure the guards had heard every word. The poems were my message to them. When I read the book about black women, I felt the spirits of those sisters feeding me, making me stronger. Black women have been struggling and helping each other to survive the blows of life since the beginning of time. And when I had read Siddhartha, a peace came over me. I felt a unity with all things living. The world, in spite of oppression, is a beautiful place. I would say softly to myself, letting my lips vibrate. I felt the birds, the sun, and the trees. I was in communion with all the forces on earth that truly love people, in communion with all the revolutionary forces on earth. I was definitely getting better. They were even unchaining me so that I could hobble to the bathroom every now and then, with the help of a nurse. I was still weak, and when I returned from the bathroom, I would flop on bed as if I'd accomplished a great physical feat. But at least now I knew what was wrong with me. During those first days, I could barely ask, and when I did, they acted as if my condition were some top-secret information I was not privy to. I had 3 bullet holes. There was a bullet in my chest. It's still there. An injured lung with fluid in it, a broken clavicle, and a paralyzed arm with undetermined damage to the nerves. I kept asking if I would be able to use my hand again. 1 or 2 doctors said flatly, no. The other said maybe. The other said maybe yes, maybe no. Anyway, I was gonna live. Story. You died, I cried, and kept on getting up, a little slower, and a lot more deadly. Okay, that's the end of chapter 1. My throat hurts. Wow. Not sure how much audiobook narrators get paid, but it's not enough. Like, that was physically taxing. Okay. Okay. I don't know what you guys' thoughts on this first chapter was, but mine, I know this kind of sounds cliche, but it's kind of like how little things have changed. Like, this could have been written, this could have happened 2 years ago, 2 months ago. Oh, thank you, Basima. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? I hope so. If I'm not, I'm sorry. That was something. I read this book, I read this for the first time, I think my sophomore year of college, which was a very long time ago. So some of this is like reading it again for the first time. Let's see. Wow, that one chapter took an hour to read. I don't think I'm gonna read any I don't think I can read any faster than that. And like, would you be able to comprehend me if I did? Sorry, I have a hard time focusing. I do have ADHD. Anyways, like I was saying, a lot of this kind of reminds me of I like the rhetoric. I like the rhetoric clashing with the truth and realization that it's uniform. Oh, Bashima. Okay. Okay, I think I'm gonna, when I do this again, I'm gonna do it earlier, when I have more energy, and when you guys have more energy, whoever is here listening. Whew. But like I was saying, a lot of it is very. Sorry, I'm just going through the pages. Um, uh, like, like there being literal Nazis in the police force, which is still a current problem. Like that, even the FBI has investigated and shown that a lot of white supremacists are encouraged to be in law enforcement. What else? Also, very recently, I saw this on Twitter. I don't know, maybe I'll have like, because I didn't really plan what I was gonna say. Like, I'm kind of off the cuff right now. There's this picture of this officer, and he had like the two lightning bolt tattoos, and he was saying it was for some other reason, but like anyone with any critical thinking knows what that's about. But like I think it's very clear that a lot of law enforcement, if they're not outright Nazis, they're sympathizers. They hold a lot of the same beliefs. Sorry for like background noise. Like here I'm on page 10. He's talking about how when he talked about how World War II. Yes, Bajima. She didn't realize how, like, on the nose she was until that moment. She really got to see them kind of be their raw, real selves and not what they kind of project to society. But like how World War II was on the wrong side. It's kind of how the U.S. fought on the wrong side. Like a lot of during World War II, a lot of white Americans sympathized with the Nazis, were Nazi supporters. Like a lot of the things that Hitler implemented was inspired by what America was doing to its black people. Like Jim Crow, I think, like what's called the Nuremberg laws, that was inspired by Jim Crow. Hitler was inspired by the Trail of Tears. Like if you want even more evidence of whose side America was on, when they had shows for the soldiers. This is kind of an aside, but it's related. When they had shows for the soldiers, the German prisoners of war sat ahead of blacks American soldiers. Like, that's what they thought of. Um, that's what the U.S. thought of the black people, the black men fighting on their behalf. I think, like, in the mess hall, German soldiers, I'm not soldiers, German prisoners of war were allowed to eat in the mess hall with the white soldiers, but the black soldiers couldn't. Like, I'm sorry, do you, like, hear pieces? Or, like, are you hearing pieces? Or I might be pausing. Sometimes I have long pauses because I'm trying to find my words. Um, oh, like right now, that was a pause. Or it was like my voice going in and out. Uh, but yeah, I think a lot of how we teach World War II, how we remember War, World War II is like revisionist history. Like, we want to see us as being on the right, America as being on the right side of history, on the side of freedom, on the side of what's right. But that just isn't true. And I think how much so many of our law enforcement officers sympathize with Nazi rhetoric, ascribe to that rhetoric, is a testament to how that's not true. Let's see. Let me get to a different part. Oh, also how well, Assata is probably aware of it. Like, basically how police will lie to you to get you to say what they want you to say, but like, she knew better. Like, how they tried to turn her against Sundiata, and she says on page 12, divide and conquer has always been their motto. But I think that was the Germans' motto, if I'm not mistaken, divide and conquer, but I could be wrong. But yeah. Basically how police will lie to you, pretend they're on your side so they can get you to tell on yourself, or even lie to fit whatever narrative they want. Oh, sorry. Oh, they'll lie to get you to fit whatever narrative they want to put forward. Oh. Um. Ew. I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to get to where I was trying to get to where she's with her sister. Um, There was a line I thought I highlighted. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find it again. Oh, there it goes. She's talking to her mother. Oh, she's talking to her mother, and she's like, basically how her community, how her family is supporting her and affirming her during this time. That's kind of like my favorite part of this chapter on page 16. Right here, she's like, my mother comes in. She looks worried but strong. She kisses me, and I'm proud of you. And her mother tells her she's proud of her. Like, basically, I think, like, this one, like, part means a lot to me. How, sorry, I'm trying to speak better. Basically, black women affirming each other, building each other up. Loving each other. Yeah. And also, what's it called? The books that, was it The Nurse? Oh, yeah. The nurses who gave her 3 books. I had never really heard of these books until I read this, except for Siddhartha, which I read in high school, like my freshman year of high school. So, like, you know, I know the basic plot and, like, some major themes. But I couldn't really tell you too much about that. I don't know what, but if you have any, thoughts on this chapter, excuse me. If you have any thoughts on this chapter, I would like to hear it in the chat, or if you're watching this later, in the comments. I think this is about to come to an end. I don't think I have it in me to talk for much longer. I know this first one was kind of rocky. I don't know if this is going to be everyone's cup of tea. I would like to thank everyone who listened, even if it was for like 5 minutes and you went on about your business. Thanks for even giving this a chance. I'm not really a public speaking kind of person. I'm usually writing, so this is kind of out of my element. Hopefully sometime this week or next weekend, I'll read chapter 2. Probably a little earlier, so I'll have more energy. I really don't know what the best time for streaming is. Because I'm not like a YouTuber. I think last, I mean, I had an old account from high school that I made videos on, but that's like a decade ago. Let's see what else. I don't know if I'm forgetting anything. Uh, if I'm forgetting to say anything. If that's the case, I'll probably leave it in a comment or in the description. Anyways, uh, also when I'm done streaming this, probably the first good chunk of it's gonna be gone, just so like whoever might come across this won't have to like go through this to find where the what you call it, won't have to like search through to find where this actually starts. And also there's copyrighted music at the beginning. I don't want this to get taken down. But anyways, I think that's gonna be it for tonight. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. I'll probably still be on Tumblr or blogging cats or whatever. Good night.